They want to say hello to everybody. Good to see everybody. Do me a favor, if y'all can like and share your page. We want to talk about, boundaries. Now, last week we talked about, having an open mind, and we were talking to people from our neighborhoods, whether you're from Red Hook, whether you're from Brevoort, whether you're from Fort Greene, whether you're from Pink Houses, no matter where you're from, we want to talk to those individuals because I remember, Gab, and I'm going to get to you in a few minutes. I remember the time that, we would tell our friends back in the days, yo, I want to do this because I looked at Video Music Box, or I looked at Ralph McDaniel, I looked at this person, but then we never written anything, down for the next day for us to be accountable. Tonight, I'm talking to my friend Gabby that's going to help us out, and she specialized in boundaries. I mean, her mindset is, it's amazing. Like, if I can speak to, I talked to Elizabeth, good to see you. I spoke to her on the way here. I spoke to her before here. I spoke to her days before this, and we were always either in passing or in our workplace, wherever that might be. And I mean, every conversation was always dead on. Wherever I was, she spoke to that, and she's like, oh my God, Donald, you're saying something that I could resonate. And let me tell you, and then she went in, and before you know it, we had a whole conversation. I'm glad that we both have jobs. I'm glad that you're on, and I want to make sure that your audio is sound good. Okay, good. All right, good. And so listen, right now, whether you know it or not, I didn't turn up all of my speaker only because I don't want to, let me see, okay, cool. Because I didn't want to overpower, anything. And so I didn't know all of what I was doing. But anyway, I know what I'm doing now. I'm just nervous and happy and excited because my friend Gabby's here. By the way, Gab, what's going on, sis?
Well, we've been actually hanging out for the last 4 hours.
4 hours,
having really amazing conversation about tonight's topic.
Yes.
And so many other substantial things that have just happened in life that brought us to where we are today.
Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful thing because when you have that opportunity to get outside of your neighborhood, get outside of these everyday connections that you're so used to, it gives you a real opportunity to talk to people, take advantage of learning about them.
Yes.
Give them the opportunity to present themselves to you and decide for yourself, is this person somebody interesting that I want to continue to grow with or get to know, or even in what capacity they can impact your life. And I love the mission that Donald is working towards here, and I'm really, really happy to be a part of it.
Where are you from originally?
So that's also kind of weird to talk about, to be honest with you.
How about the present time?
Present time, I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I work in Midtown Manhattan.
Okay.
But I did grow up in Florida, but I'm originally from up north. We just moved down there. My family chose to
Shout out to Florida.
Which I love.
Right.
Two totally different worlds. Two totally different worlds. But part of what gives me my experience every day that I live with and being able to really keep boundaries, set boundaries, goals,
absolutely,
everything is knowing what I want out of life and knowing where I fit in and what communities I want to engage with. And I like having that duality and that total polar opposite. It's really interesting.
Oh my God. Let me just say, I want to express in front of everybody, I am so happy that you're here. Oh my God. Do you not know I've been trying to get Gabby here for a minute, y'all, and I've oftentimes given reference to who she was without even saying her name. But because of all the knowledge and wisdom that she has and all of the experiences she's gone through and everything that she specialized in, I mean, not even to speak about her education level, again, that education level is fine, but who she is supersede all of that,
Life experience,
Life
honestly.
experiences,
You don't get to a place of understanding and awareness without taking time for yourself and pausing in life to give back to yourself in whatever lesson is presented to you in that moment. You have to give yourself time to process where you are, what you want, and work through that and allow that to keep pushing you forward, because that's not something that is easy to come by. And nobody wants to give you that time.
Oh man,
everybody wants to take your time.
Yes.
Your job wants to take your time. Your friends want your time.
Wow.
Your family wants time. Everybody is literally robbing you of time.
Absolutely.
And it's and setting boundaries and learning how to say no to certain things. Yeah. Because when you say yes to everything, you're saying no to something else.
Oh, man, we got to get into that. Whoa, you're going so fast. We got to slow this down. Wow. Let me tell you, it's a beautiful thing because, and if y'all getting value already, do me a favor, can y'all just give us the hearts already, or give us the likes, give us a thumbs up, welcome my friend Gabby and let her know, she's talking truth already. We're going to definitely dive into, and I believe that our objective is to boost up anybody's self-esteem level, boost up your confidence, let you know you don't have to be perfect. Look at the hearts. Look at this. You don't have to be perfect, to start, but you have to start to be perfect. Mm-hmm. I do believe that. You don't have to be perfect to start, but you have to start to be perfect, We
were literally just talking about this today.
I'm trying to tell you.
I'm a doer.
Yeah.
We've been talking. Dawn and I have known each other for, I actually started at this company a year ago. It's been March of last year that I transitioned into this company particularly, and I met Donald.
Yeah.
And we've been talking for quite some time about all of these different ideas and thoughts and finally today it was just the day because I also was almost like, look, if we're not gonna make this happen, it's not happening. I'm moving on to something else now. But at the end of the day, it's really about making things happen for yourself, and you can sit there. It's called analysis paralysis.
That's exactly what it's called. Analysis paralysis.
You know what
I'm saying? Absolutely.
And you can sit and think about all the things that you want to do. That you need to do. You can do all the research. You can prepare as much as you want to, and it will never feel like the right time.
Never.
You have to just do it.
You gotta just do it.
You have to just make it happen. And it almost didn't tonight, right? We're 8:20. We're starting. This is back to the bootleg version,
and stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? We're just doing back to just doing what we got to do.
We are just making this happen.
Making it happen.
Last minute, I said, I'm with you. I don't care where you're going. I'm about to go to a basketball game with you. I'm about to go wherever you want to go.
I'm going.
We're doing it. We're having
today.
this conversation. We are hanging out.
Absolutely.
And we are taking this time.
And we're here. Look at that. And don't get it twisted. Her schedule is crazy, And
I don't stop.
She doesn't stop. Her schedule is crazy, so it's not easy to get her. So sometimes, and I want to encourage all of you content creators, all of you YouTubers, all of you podcasters, all of you who want to do anything, in media, you have to take it when it comes. You have to jump on it when it comes, And she fit right in to the topic tonight, which was creating boundaries. You got what I'm saying? And so, knowing the things that she's gone through, me personally, and knowing the things that I've gone through, I know that tonight you're going to get the biggest value ever, And so with that being said, you want to hit?
I got you. Move it down a little
I got you. So with that being said, we just want to make sure there we go. You good? All right.
Yes.
So with that being said, we're going to dive right into it. So obviously we know she's originally from Florida. She lives in Brooklyn right now. A Brooklyn lady who she doesn't mind going anywhere, and she's not scared of nobody, And you would never think that she was someone who could be an introvert. But I want to talk and dive into you. We're not going to talk about so much of the introvert tonight. And by the way, y'all, I'm taking phone calls tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up on the screen our number. So at the end of this segment, when we ask for phone calls, you can call and dive right in and give us your input on boundaries and how important boundaries are to you. So Gab, tell me, how important are boundaries today in anybody's life? And of course, I know there's a broad, question, but how, from just a general perspective, how important are boundaries?
Extremely important. Yeah. It's a matter of knowing yourself, knowing what you want. Knowing how to give time to what's important for you. And it's really about making a relationship better. Because when you communicate boundaries, the person that you're communicating those boundaries to, it's showing respect. It's saying, this is how we can work together to have a healthy relationship. This is what works for me. And I want it to also work for you. So I'm not going to create a situation when I express boundaries. I'm not intentionally trying to create a situation of resentment and anger.
Right.
I'm not really, it might feel like it's a limiting experience to be on the receiving end of that boundary. But on the other side of it, to be honest, it's really showing love and care and compassion and respect to the other person, because it's saying, this is what I can offer you.
Absolutely.
And this is what I have the ability to provide.
Absolutely.
And if there is something that you know about yourself that you can give, that you can provide, without creating contempt. Without that level of resentment. Because that's what ends up happening, right? Absolutely. Some people think that boundaries can create that. Yeah. But healthy boundaries don't create that.
Absolutely.
Animosity, resentment, contempt, that's all created within a relationship that doesn't actually have boundaries.
Absolutely.
Where your needs are being taken away or infringed upon. And there's a lot that goes into boundary setting too, right? Because there has to be a certain level of responsibility and acceptance.
Right.
Understanding that this relationship, whatever that relationship is, with whomever that is going to be different.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's okay, right? We don't have to say, if it's not this, then it has to be that.
Right.
Or we don't have to provide this construct and this confine to, like, these limits to things.
Right.
It's okay to be who you are. It's okay where you come from. It's okay, because everyone has their own process in life for what they're understanding and where they're going.
Absolutely. Why is it that you have some people, and I'll emphasize some people in this world, who feel that you have to be like, if it's not this, then this is not going to be, as far as my boundaries, you got to follow this or else. Why do we have to take that approach? Why do you feel that people actually take that approach, in life? What is that about to some people?
I think that it has to do with obviously we're all raised differently. Right. So it's a situation where this is what happens with the information that we're given.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely.
We just don't have exposure to people that are accepting of, it's like, just for example, right? When you were a kid and you're going to a family function and somebody tells you to smile or go give your uncle a hug.
Right.
But if you really don't want to hug your uncle, right? At the end of the day, somebody else is forcing you to do it. So you learn that how you feel doesn't really matter. You suppress that.
Absolutely.
And you hug your uncle because that's what you do.
Right.
But
that's good.
You might be creeped out by your uncle or, whatever. I mean, it could be a situation like that, but really what it is it's just a learned behavior.
It is.
And a lot of people don't recognize that it's okay to have wants and needs that are separate from what others people's wants and needs are.
True.
And it is okay.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to understand that what you want and what works for you does not work for other people, and that's okay too.
Absolutely.
But to have the confidence, the self-respect, the self-awareness, and the peace of mind to be able to sit comfortably in that space, that's what might take some work to get towards.
Absolutely.
And it's just something that you need to keep reinforcing within yourself a little bit every day. And it gets to be easier because you have to practice it. Yes. It's a discipline, just like anything else.
Yes. Like we said, you don't have to start perfectly, but you have to start to be perfect. And at the same time, and I like what you said because, you have some people who feel that in order for them to feel confident to give that type of projection, that they have to be like, in order for them to relate it to you. Like, you ever seen somebody who can't say anything that's of truth unless they're mad or at an angry state of mind, versus, well, look, I'm not mad with you, but let me just tell you the truth. It's so hard for people Sometimes.
You know where that comes from,
Where
though?
does that come from?
Fear.
Wow. Talk to me about that. Come on.
I think it comes from fear.
Wow.
Which a lot of people might not recognize, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, oh, I'm angry,
Mm-hmm.
which is a primary emotion that you're feeling
Mm-hmm.
and easy to express. It's easier to express anger for a lot of people than it is to express what they're actually afraid of. Because showing fear is showing vulnerability.
Wow.
Right? Wow. If it's so hard for people to say, I'm actually afraid of what could potentially happen. I'm afraid of losing. I'm afraid of not being okay. But you kind of have to kind of lean into that sometimes and just be like, you know what? I trust that I will be okay. I am going to be okay. But bringing this back to the boundaries is it's really about just being able to know and understand yourself. And you have to give yourself time for that. And you also have to be open and aware.
Yeah.
I mean, this world, you know, we're always looking for signs, right? If there was a sign, if something was just a sign. But the fact is it's really a matter of what you're actually open to seeing.
Wow.
Because
wow.
Especially living in New York, right? And I was talking to Don about this earlier today.
Yeah.
Like, one thing that I focus on that's really interesting is when I leave my apartment, my home, right? Yeah. This is my safe place that I've created. And I step outside into this really chaotic world around me. There are people everywhere. There's garbage on the street. There's so many things happening. I mean, it's literally like a hurricane. And I am in the eye of a hurricane. And I'm going to be sitting in that eye of a hurricane, sipping my lemonade, knowing that there's all this chaos going on around me, but I'm not going to let everything that's happening around me affect me. And on occasion, there might be a strong wind that comes through.
Right.
And I'll sit with that. And some rain. And I'll sit with that. But at the end of the day, I also know what I'm looking for. And if it doesn't provide that sunshine and lemonade, then I don't want it.
It is.
And I'm going to say no to it.
And you're not going to live in fear.
No.
To stay in it.
No,
you know?
because I trust myself.
Right. And
to figure it out.
Right.
And that takes a lot. And it's also hard to get to that place. It's taken many, 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 many years. And it's also taken a lot of really difficult experiences to get to that point.
Absolutely.
So wherever you are in your process, the best thing that I can provide you with is just give yourself some peace. Because forgive yourself, because you're limited to really only what you know, and we don't know what we don't know.
Yes.
And that's really interesting too.
That's good. Wow. Yeah. We only we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and we know only what we know.
Exactly.
You know, it was I was thinking about my friend Sean Cannell that I was telling you about earlier. By the way, shout out to Think Media if he's watching. He has an acronym for fear. He says we can do one of the two things: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. You know, and when I looked at that, I says, wow. That is something that anybody should be able to, you know, think about when they're in the eye of the storm, you know, and while they're creating boundaries, you know. And again, like you said earlier, and she spit, I mean, so much value, y'all. With some of my brothers on the my biological brothers on the line, you know, it's so funny because we talk about when we set boundaries, we think that we're gonna lose things, and you know, we're gonna, you know, have bad things talked about us, and you know, all this type of stuff. But if you think about the worst thing that could ever happen to you, and you shed your fear of it, you know, and not in a way where you're bitter or hate people. We talked about this on the way too, you know. But if you shed your fear of the worst thing you feel that could happen to you, if you set good, healthy boundaries around you, you're fearless. Yeah. You're unstoppable, you know. Because what's one of the worst things that anybody could do when they get a car? Is have their car repoed, you know, or their house, you know.
People are so afraid to ask for things because the answer might be no, right?
How bad is no?
It's really not that bad because, listen, when you get a no, you know what your limitations are
There it
with
is.
that person, with that
come on.
situation. And because somebody else said no to you, kind of like what happens in this
Today,
situation tonight,
yeah, absolutely. I was supposed to be somewhere
you create
else.
something else.
You create. Stop there, right there, Gap. Give me some. This is what I'm saying. You know, and like she says, listen, whatever. See, I've gotten to know, and look at the heart you're getting right now.
I love
I've
it.
gotten to, you know, we've gotten no, you know, on so many different occasions, so many different, you know, things.
Yeah, so many people have told me no.
Right, but guess what? Why not create?
Thank you for that, actually.
Create. Come on, look at this.
Because I know what you don't want from me.
Right.
Or maybe you don't even want me.
Bars.
That's okay, because there's somebody else who does, and there's some other place or situation that will appreciate me.
You're not.
And I'm going to take my butt over there.
There you go.
I'm not going to keep myself in a place where people are telling me no.
Right. Now let me ask you a question.
What's that?
Are there people that in life, are they scared to know? Do they love? Do we have people who exist that love living in a box versus come outside the box and just explore life, right?
We absolutely do, but I also don't think that they realize that they're in the box. That's kind of a thing, right?
Can you give us some pointers of what it's like from your perspective?
Yeah.
You know, what it could be, you know, being in a box.
Yeah, of course. It's just it's the hamster wheel of life, right? Mm-hmm. We get stuck in this routine. We get stuck in what we're comfortable with, right? Yeah, How many times have you heard people say, sit in your discomfort? Mm-hmm. And it's so much easier to hear that and say that than it is to actually exist in it.
Right.
But it's such a necessary thing to experience. Even with as strong as I am, to be honest with you, and as much as I've been through, even so recently, I have had about 6 weeks of really a lot of awful days in a row. Mm-hmm. And just really having to sit in an uncomfortable space because a lot of things in my world were just turned around unnecessarily. And it's so wild how something so small can create such a mountain for you to climb over. But what you don't realize is that you do just have to kind of go with it. And those days are awful and they suck. And it's okay. Because at the end of it, you're still coming back on and you're still showing up. And that's the important part. That's where the doing comes in. Is even when you don't feel like it, you still show up. And push through it because it will get better.
It will.
What's so amazing about life is that one person that makes you smile, or you know, that first day of spring. Like, literally, I walked out of my apartment this morning and I'm just noticed all the cherry blossoms. And it was 55 degrees. And I knew it was going to be 65. It was so freaking amazing. And what a beautiful day. The energy in the city was wild. It was beautiful. Like, nobody wanted to work today. And you know what I'm talking about.
Everybody was outside.
In it.
Yeah, everybody was outside.
You were wanting to get out of that job. You were wanting to get outside.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was a beautiful day. And you know what? And that's what's so brilliant about life is like you can have such an awful day and then the next day can completely change. You never know. That might be the day that you meet the person that you want to be with for the rest of your life.
Right.
It might be the day that you meet somebody interesting and you end up on a podcast. Like, what? It could be something really amazing. And I think just giving yourself the opportunity to experience that is what's really valuable and important. You might not know that you're in the box because all that is the level of self-awareness. And it's also what your intentions are. No one's going to tell you what you want, and no one can tell you to stop smoking. If you don't want to stop smoking, you're not going to stop smoking.
You're not going to. Don't fool yourself.
Also, previous smoker, unfortunately. Hate to say that, but it's true. Like, I tried to quit multiple times, and that was just cigarettes.
Right.
Like, there are other habits in life that I have learned to let go of because I was ready and I was done.
Absolutely.
And no one is going to tell you when you're
Absolutely.
ready, and no one's going to tell you when you're done. And all of the opportunities were always around me. Yeah. I just didn't even see it because my mentality was stuck. I was stuck. And I didn't even know I was stuck. Nobody could have told me I was stuck until I had to realize how disgusted I was with the situation that I was in order to get away from that, you know? And sometimes it takes that to get there.